The Origins of Life, Reflections of Love and Light, Part 2. Sorry about the abrupt ending. Me memory done all on my phone, so it carried on recording for another 4 minutes. But saved it as a separate file kind of thing, like. But so I restarted that, and I was kind of getting away, going too far where I was going anyway, getting ahead of myself, sorry, where I was going last time and stuff like. But it gave you kind of like an idea and stuff like, so it's all right. But we're gonna start from here this time. So this is like this kind of thing. Like, well, actually, at first you got all these kind of patterns and stuff like that, like under surface of water. You see that ring again, you know what I mean? Like we got on the other video, fish there as well. And then you get all these patterns on the floor as well. I see, like sometimes the lines cross and it's brighter there and stuff like that. Or saying that I might be using a torch down there or something like that kind of thing. But you can see that, I don't know, there's all these patterns out, all crisscrosses and stuff like that. Out lights kind of like catching through, you know what I mean? So like in certain points, the beam's stronger, you know what I mean, for it to get through onto that, to create these patterns and stuff like. How it refracts the light and stuff like. Like we said, light's information and water's got memory. So, you know what I mean? It's if water's got memory, it must be able to sense the sensations, you know what I mean? Like light coming through it and stuff like that, hot and cold and all these kind of stuff. I mean, because like it hasn't got nerves, you know what I mean? Like the human body and stuff like that, but I don't mean it hasn't got some sort of sense, you know what I mean, in a way. I mean, it's like energy in it, you know what I mean, and stuff like. So like on an energetic basis, you can feel like when you walk into a room and there's a bad atmosphere or whatever and stuff like that. It's all interrelatable, you know what I mean? Because like we are mainly water in that kind of sense and stuff, and also it's like the roots of its foundations. Water is life in a sense, you know what I mean? So it is. It seems to be how everything was created, and in terms of life anyway and stuff like. I would looked at the plants and all these kind of things and stuff. How planets like learn to adapt and all these kind of things. Like I say about the eyeball and all these kind of things and the focus point and stuff like. But also the plant's tolerance for heat or temperatures. You know what I mean? So it adapts that information and then it gives it to us. You know what I mean? Like, so when it creates a living organism, it already knows that it's going to be able to tolerate the temperatures and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like the plants are a scout in a sense, to scout the terrain and atmosphere and all these kind of things to know what we need and stuff like. But essentially, that water will before that, you know what I mean? And water's going in all those plants that are doing that testing and scouting and all these kind of things. So maybe it's like, it's not the plant at all, it's the water, you know what I mean? I mean, in ways and stuff like that. I mean, there's other elements to be considering as well, kind of thing, like, like the sun and stuff like that kind of thing. It adds passion to it and stuff like. So you get all the colours or whatever and stuff. But like fire in spiritual terms, it's passion. You know what I mean, and stuff like. So like, if somebody's got a lot of fire in the spirit, then that's a passionate person. So. So yeah. Got as a whole, you know what I mean, and stuff like that kind of thing. I'll do that, and you can see it better. I like the gradient of it, how deep and dark it is. It's all this, how pale and light it is there and stuff like that. And the gradient through it and stuff. And you compare it to, like, this kind of thing, you know what I mean, and stuff like, because the fish has got, it's got that pattern on as well, which kind of hides it as well a little bit, but you can see the colour of it and stuff. It's very bluey, you know what I mean, blue kind of colour in that kind of way, like. And there again, it's a little bit different because it's all dark at the top and it's like light in the middle. And you got a patch here and stuff like that, but it depends on what time of day this is kind of representing, or what aspect the water was kind of excited about, entertained, you know what I mean? What did it react to? What did it find interesting? Or, we use the word traumatic on the previous one as well, kind of thing, like, maybe nothing particular happened. It's like, maybe it's all trivial things or whatever and stuff like that. So we've got all sorts of different colours and stuff to go through in that kind of sense and stuff, but I see more of them there. I see colour a bit there. I mean, there's a fade to it in the outside of that pattern. And different colours in there as well. Same fish. Right, so look at this one. On the whole, you know what I mean, for the light to dark and all these kind of things, the depth and all that kind of stuff. But also we've got all these, all the lines, all the parallel ones. Like, see there, you got that line that kind of goes all the way down there, kind of thing. Like, I mean, not perfectly parallel, with, like, you know what I mean, zigzaggy and segmented and all these kind of things. You see these rings here, maybe from where the person's got in the water. But all the rest of it, it's like waves going that way. Well, maybe that way, but either way, whichever way, it's like, it's all in uniform, more or less. So you get this quite a lot as well, like, opposed to like the previous one, that's more patchy in it, you know what I mean, water just going up and down in that kind of pattern rather than waves going across. But again, we've got the colours, the depth, the light and dark and all that kind of stuff. And then we compare it to one of these. You see, like, the depth. It's like the depth of ocean. We've got all sand here. And at the surface of water, it's kind of more, lighter at the top. So it's like a photograph. Other aspects is bubbles, like something falls into water or something jumps out and lands back in or whatever. You got this, something for the water to be excited about as the light shines through and refracts off all the different areas where the air's got to and stuff like that, the bubbles kind of thing. I mean, you compare it to that. It's like the impact of the ball, where it went in, and then it's kind of splashed out in a way. I mean, maybe, you know what I mean, in senses and stuff like. See, it's got like this part here, it's got all those that are like in uniform on the wave part. And so that's like, that's more like sunlight. That's like reflecting off at water, so you got the waves there and the sunlight reflects off it. So that's what that could be as well, but it being so dense and stuff, that kind of thing, it's like there's so many, you know what I mean, but it depends how the water records, you know what I mean, how it takes its photo in a sense and stuff like, because like this could be, daytime and then this is progressing to nighttime, and you're getting less light reflected onto ocean, so it can't take the photos as well. You know what I mean? Whereas like earlier on in day, like the water's moving up and down and all that kind of stuff, and it's consistently changing its shape and its angles or patterns to capture the light. You know what I mean? In that kind of way, like so. Also, because it's like it's white. It's not a spot. It's just white. So it's like the photo hasn't. It's not overexposed. Like when we were talking about it appearing black, like the peacock feather. It's like that overexposure to the sunlight. Whereas this is, little bits of sunlight. It's either that or, like I said, it might be the splash kind of thing, and bubbles and stuff like. A reason for it to be exciting in a sense of like food or whatever and stuff like. Obviously not for the water, but at the same time, if we're saying that the water can feel this, you know what I mean, and stuff like. I suppose these exist. So it's like, before life existed and stuff like that kind of thing, you couldn't have that as an example. But maybe as a stone falling into water or a branch falling into water, that kind of thing. Like, it's a lot to say, you know what I mean? It's just like so many different examples of it and stuff like. You see the waves there, in the stripes kind of thing, and then like in the ridges, it's like the waves as well. But it's trying to understand like the nature of water. It's almost Aztec-y. And also almost like a snake as well. Like some patterns you get on them and stuff like on its body kind of thing. But it's another example of sunlight. It's more towards end of day. And sand underneath, dark sky maybe, but we'll come back to that later. It's kind of like another example, which kind of like, once there's some more examples in between, it kind of like makes more sense and stuff. Just one colour, I suppose. Alright, some more patterns. Obviously ripples, how that affects salt refraction, and patterns in that kind of way. Ocean floor again. It's a pool, but it's flat, so you can see it better. But also, like with it doesn't have to be flat, it's gonna like whatever the ocean floor is, because that's also part of it. It's like the water's relationship with the floor, so like quite often you get those wave ripples which are kind of forced imprinted upon the sand and stuff like. You can walk up on a beach, can't you, massage your feet or whatever and stuff like. But but yeah, like whilst the ocean's over it though, you've got a relationship with the earth itself, so that's another element as well, like, you know what I mean, like the grounded, steady, held in place kind of aspect of earth and stuff kind of thing, like stability. And also that's also reflected into the picture of fish as well, kind of thing, like like I say, its belly and stuff. So I was looking for that ring. light that gets through and then the shadow that gets through. It's like two different aspects of it, like. So thinking about like rain and stuff like that kind of thing. Like if it rains, you get bubbles, and those bubbles, because of the light, how it bends and refracts and stuff like that kind of thing, and you get shapes, don't you? So this is like, is it a bug, an insect? And it's out where its feet are landing in the floor, so it's bending like out water comes to it and stuff like. And then yeah, obviously the light's going around it and that part's hidden and stuff. But and also these patterns, you know. A spider is doing this kind of thing. So, you know, like leaves, all those kind of things. Anything which can like leave a pattern and stuff like. It has a potential for, you know, our waters related to it. You know what I mean? Because if it's light and water, then it is kind of like photography in a way. It's just understanding, you know, I mean, it's part of its methodology, isn't it? Especially with like the bubbles, because of the refraction of light, the focal point, and you know what I mean, or a bead of water. So then like the eyeball is basically a bead of water, isn't it? A bit more to it than that, but again, like trying to look past and behind and all these effects and stuff like with water. And it becomes difficult to discern, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. It's like just patterns in a way and stuff, but bubbles. Big bubbles were like reflective and all that kind of thing. Silver looking. It's all speckles of light. And I suppose bits in there, look, tiny bubbles and stuff. It's quite good as well. So you see all these shapes, it kind of hides what's underneath, and it's kind of giving you your pattern anyway. You know what I mean? The nature of water or something, I don't know. It's almost like a I don't know how to describe. Raindrops from underneath. I still weren't quite satisfied with the raindrop idea though. I kind of dropped it in ways and stuff like. Again, you get these patterns and stuff. I see, like you can see what's underneath. But you're seeing the patterns as well. You see the sand and the stones and seaweed or whatever and stuff like. And the other one, it kind of distorted everything so much. It just looked like these patterns, but in different colours. You know, like one colour's one colour. You know, like I could have done it with paint. You know what I mean? If I zoom in and stuff like that kind of thing. I've got like a black area, a beige area over, or two beige areas over a white spot. You know what I mean? And stuff like. It's I suppose warps it that much, it's difficult to kind of see it and stuff like. These patterns, you know, like the ripples going over ripples going in different directions. because it's like scales, you know what I mean? It's gonna like our plants, our plants grow, our leaves go over each other and stuff like that, or from under each other either. You can see refraction and all that kind of stuff, like how it bends into like rainbow colours and stuff. I mean, I spoke about that one before and stuff, didn't I? But that's good for rainbowy stuff. Apples. Them ridges. It's just as much as part of it. Leaf shapes as shadows and stuff. And more raindrops from underneath. And this, you get these ripples like this, waves. You know what I mean? Our ocean can just take on this pattern. You know what I mean? It's like this crisscross flower of life pattern, basically. You know what I mean? It's like a pine cone, but like laid flat. You know, you can see it quite often when you go to the ocean and stuff. Which again, like fish scales are other things in nature, like I said, the pine cone or whatever else and stuff, but reptile scales. Our sun sparks off it. It's quite good, and you got tiny little ripples and stuff like that. Everything. The clouds, like we said the last time, like clouds are just as much a part of it. Because they're made out of water, going through an atmosphere, which is kind of basically water anyway. So everything's like water, everything which is in open, you know what I mean? This one. Another example of clouds and stuff like, I don't know. There's different, you're familiar with clouds, aren't you? And then you get these patterns. So like, so the black areas are clouds, and that's the light coming through, you know what I mean? Like I said, sometimes I think it might invert it, or it depends. Like that could be blue sky coming through, you know what I mean, the black area. Or that could actually be the cloud, you know what I mean? It could be vice versa in a way. I think the black area is cloud, so that'd be like an overcast day, you know what I mean, and stuff. Patchy clouds. And then you get brown ones. Like you get sepia ink. So you get like black and white photos. We used to get your black and white ones, but you used to get them like black and brown. You know what I mean? So it'll more of a sepia ink that we use for it or whatever. But it's like it's done that in nature as well. It's like we've got the option of like black and white, and then we've got the option of like sepia and white, and then colour as well. So it's interesting as that kind of thing. I suppose we get the ink from squid, don't we? Sepia and Indian ink is both from nature. Well, I suppose it's difficult to get something outside of nature. But again, clouds, patchy and that kind of thing. It's like the sun's shining through almost. Clouds is another option. And the other option is stuff on the surface of water. But you imagine if you're like high altitude, then that's like, you know, seeing clouds at that distance. But then you got things on water like that, like froth bubbles or whatever and stuff like that kind of thing. So it builds together and pushes across and all these kind of things makes these patterns. Like this kind of thing. I don't want to focus into that one. So, like that. Is it cloud or is it froth? You know, I mean, that maybe that's cloud because you got like spots and stuff like that kind of thing. Breaks up in a way. It just looks like a higher altitude of cloud, though, especially like on that one. So we've got these. We've got fish with black spots and like highlighted rings around them. So that's got a bit sun. I don't believe that's a bubble. It could be. You know what I mean? Because like I said, if the light refracts along the outside and stuff like that kind of thing of a bubble, and then it just depends on how would it hit the water. You know what I mean? How would the shadow come through? Where would it? Well, one of these pictures which had it. I'd have showed you that one. You know, you're seeing water like that, aren't you? But yeah, really difficult to find shadows of bubbles underwater. I can have it now. Oh, never mind. It's more like that. That example, so it's like dark. It's got this ring around it and stuff like. It's like that overexposure to the sun. So like this has got the rings. It could be bubbles or it could be what's it called, leaves or whatever and stuff. Because it's got different shapes around it, you know what I mean? Which, like a bubble, can have bubbles attached to it, you know? So you've got that kind of aspect of things. This one is different. You've got your... it's more like a giraffe, you know what I mean? How giraffes got them marks like that, which is like, again, your ocean floor. That's like the bubbles or of the sun or whichever it is. It's like, you know, it's like telling you its origins were from the ocean. And this is like at night time. So you get the different pattern in a way. How it looks. I think that's like sunset to night time. You see water. All water patterns, all them shapes. How it's like black and then fades to light. which you've got that in a lot of examples. A lot of them photos going to show it and stuff. So you see, it's not a perfect block. It's got like these indentations, like that. It's got goes in there, and that. You know what I mean? All these. Like there, you can see it goes in. It goes in there. It goes in there. It's like they're all kind of like broken in a way. That's another example of froth. Maybe for horses and stuff like. Because you know how it breaks up and cloud-like and circles and stuff like that kind of thing is different to the that one. You know what I mean? Because that's like lines. So you got loads of different giraffes. So I think the middle two are more blocky, but the rest of them have like these indentations, type of patterns. Tasmanian tiger, it has stripes. So these are like waves, and that's like the light getting through each wave. So like when the waves are going parallel, like on that previous picture. More spots. And more stripes and lines overflow around, you know what I mean, and stuff. It's like, say if that were a boat going through water, it's creating this wake, in a way. Like his eye. Its eye is a focus point, you know what I mean? It's like what he sees into this world, so that's like one of the most important parts of it in a sense and stuff like that. So it makes it relevant for it to be able to see as it goes, you know, as these lines are coming around it or whatever. Even in red. But, you know, we'll get through it and we'll see more. And it kind of becomes more like kind of relevant, I think. More spots.